Show somebody how to use these old-fashioned rolling machines to roll the perfect cigarette joint.
Well, apparently this isn't the first time that Drexler's had some
So,
trouble.
it took me a while to get the technique down that I'm going to use today, but let me show you how I do it. Okay? Okay, got my weed all cleaned here in my tray. Got my filter tips and papers all ready. Okay. So, you need an old credit card or something, okay?
And it's always nice when they
A
surprise
rolling machine, and some of these tips. You know, you can get them pre-rolled like I get them, or you can roll them yourself if you're stupid, okay? But I like to use these pre-rolled tips. So, you take your rolling machine, just like this, and you open it up. You got to pull it down the little slot there and open it up till you get your nice open groove here in the middle, okay? You take your filter tip and you place it in the left side of the rolling machine up against the end. Okay? See where it's at there now? All right. Now, I like to take my credit card, and let's see if I can show this a little bit better here. I like to take my credit card after I, give it a good chop here, make sure everything's nice and clear, and make sure there's no stems that are going to pop up on me. And just scoop it onto the card and dump it into your joint machine, okay? Now, this is where the technique gets a little bit tricky because you got to make sure you get a good pack in there, but not too much. So I start by just tapping the card down into the groove. Try to push just some of the weed down into the trough. Yeah, I know it seems like a lot of work and takes a lot of time, but you end up getting a nice joint, you know? And that's what we're all hoping for, right? Okay, so you get it down to where it's pretty much level with the top. You got your filter in place. You got your weed packed in there. This is where it gets a little tricky. You got to take your thumbs, you got to push up on the bottom roller and try to contain as much of the weed in there as you can possibly get in there. Now you're going to have some that's going to stick out the top. I like to just take my finger and give it a good, just a good little scrape through there a little bit. Now, you don't need no papers yet. What you're going to do next is just roll the weed into a nice cylinder inside the machine. So you take your thumbs like this and you pull them towards you. And I like to give it a good 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 revolutions until it's spinning freely. Okay? Now it's spinning freely. You got your filter tip in the left side. Your weed is all in here. Now you take your paper. You can use any papers. I got some Muons I've been using here right now. Got some Bob Marley's here. Okay, so you take your paper. Now, kind of important, glue's got to be up. The glue side's got to be up here. So if you're going to do this, I'm going to do a couple more of these. So if you're coming in late, you'll catch it. You slide the paper into the slot. You see how it's sitting in there now? It's just sitting in there. Now you take your thumbs and you very carefully get it to start. There you go. See how it's pulling the paper into the machine? Now, when you've got about this much paper still left above it, you're going to need your tongue here. Yeah. And you finish rolling it. Now, I like to give it a couple of good rolls to make sure that the glue sticks and everything. John, look, I've been smoking marijuana for 42 years, and no, I cannot freehand a joint worth of shit. And I like to have filter tips in them, and I'm willing to admit that technology can improve your life. So yeah, you can make fun of me because I can't freehand, but you come out with a perfect fucking joint with a filter tip in it. So, yeah, you can freehand them. It sucks. Why do it when you don't have to? I mean, these machines are like $1.50 or $2, man. I mean, seriously, man, I don't smoke a lot of joints. In fact, most of my life I've smoked bongs, almost predominantly. But I find joints are very convenient when you're on the road and doing shit, you know. So I started rolling them, and I realized that I really suck at rolling joints. So I saw a YouTube video about somebody using one of these, and I'd seen them around for years, and I didn't know how to use them, and so I'm gonna pass it on again to some other people. Yeah, I mean, this is my main killer here, you know, ice chiller bong here, you know. So speaking of that, I like indicas and indica dominant hybrids. Very seldom do I do sativas when I need to like kill my couch lock or something that's coming up. But I'm not a big sativa fan. It gives me panic attacks, gives me anxiety, causes me the jitters. It's too much. Cheers, everybody. We're gonna roll a couple more joints here just in case anybody didn't catch it, and they can learn how I do this. Everybody does this pretty much the same way, I think. Cheers, everybody. Good morning to everybody from Grower Deacon Dave out here, and we're in Missouri, and I'm a legal medical marijuana grower and medicine maker. And I'm going to demonstrate again how to roll perfect joint with, well, I don't know, perfect, but a pretty damn good joint with one of these rolling machines. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. You've got the machine opened up. You pulled the bottom roller down to the little groove down here at the bottom, okay? You take your filter tip. Just, you know, you can buy these things in jugs for practically nothing, okay? They're already pre-rolled. Sativa's good. It has its place. Don't get me wrong. And I mix sativas into my edibles and my medicines and my tinctures and oils and stuff. So, no, I don't discount sativas. But a lot of people, including myself, have a tendency to get almost wired from a good sativa. So, you know, I like a lot of the fruit stuff, you know, the purples. I got a shitload of weed over here on this wheel of weed over here. You can see in the background. How about that? Here's my wheel of weed. These are all jars of weed. And I got some more in the drawer over there. I've got about 17 or 18 different strains right now. So I got my choice of whatever I want to smoke. But this here is a mix of banana fruitcake and gorilla cookies for these joints I'm rolling right now. Okay, so I've packed the weed in there using the credit card. You just scoop it, you know, get yourself a good, big scoop of weed. Use the end of the credit card, okay, and just dump it in the groove. And just, now you're going to take your credit card and you're just going to pack it down in there. You're just going to pull it off the rollers and just level it out. Make sure that the end away from the filter doesn't end up with an air pocket and not enough weed in the end. That's the one mistake that most people make, because the filter is going to make the weed a certain width no matter what. You got to match the other end with weed. So, okay, This is what it looks like. You got your filter, you got your weed all in there, and dude, I rode with a guy who drove semis, and this motherfucker could literally take a paper while he's driving, scoop it into a bag of clean weed, roll it with one hand, lick it, and throw them on the dashboard as fast as you and I could say, fuck you all. I mean, it was like, he was like a fucking machine. He had one hand on the fucking steering wheel and he was just flipping joints. Yeah, that's fucking talent. I really don't have the desire to develop that talent. And yes, this does take a little while. But I do sell some of these to my patients, and they like a nice looking, clean, non-pregnant joint. Roll joints for the journeyman. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's a great fucking job. But yeah, just get that fucking paper in there and roll it in there, Ah, fuck. I just screwed that one up. Well, we're going to make it work anyway. I don't know if this was going to work. Just rip the fucking paper. That was brilliant. Let's see if we can make it still work anyway. So yeah, you can fuck them up. But see, even if you fuck them up, this one's repairable. Little saliva. And you still got a joint out of it, so it'll burn. So, on top of buildings, I was an ironworker. Holy crap, dude. Well, that is impressive, but for a lot of us who are not quite that dexterous, I play drums. I got pretty fucking good hands, and I even do art and stuff, so I have pretty good hands. But man, my joints always came out fucking thick in the middle and crap on the end. So, pregnant. And I never did spend enough time learning how to do it better. Again, I'm going to do it one more time, guys. Got the filter in the end here. These are those pre-made filters. You buy them in the jugs. That's what they look like. They're just basically a piece of rolled cardboard. You take your old expired credit card, scoop you some weed, dump it in the trough. That's what it looks like after your first initial rough dump, okay? You haven't done anything to pack it yet. Then you take your credit card and you work that weed down into the trough. You just kind of tap it down in there. You just kind of push it down in there and kind of get it down below the surface as much as you can do without it all spilling out. Okay? Now you take your thumbs and you push the bottom roller up over to the top roller. Okay? Now you're going to have some weed that's going to be sticking out the top. Just take your finger and just kind of give it a little, tap it a little bit to get the loose stuff out of the bottom. Now take your thumbs and you're just going to roll it towards you, okay? So like you're rolling towards you instead of away from you, okay? So I'm rolling, but there's no paper yet. See, this is just weed and a filter tip. I know I'm making this sound like I'm teaching a third grader, but you'd be surprised. I've had people I've given these machines to, and they're like, man, I can't get them to work. I don't know how they work. What's the deal on these things? So evidently, some people are confused as to their basic mode of operation. You take your paper. It's going to be a standard paper. I got the king size rollers too. They come in king size too. So if you want the king size joints. Hey, mean beans. I'm showing people how to roll joints with a rolling machine. I know it sounds silly, but there's a lot of people out there that can't figure these things out. Okay, so you got your filter tip and you got your weed in there and it's all rolled nice and tight. You take your paper with glue side towards you and up and slide it into, like you're putting a piece of paper into a typewriter. That's the best way to describe it. If you remember what a typewriter was like. Okay, I'm showing my age here. Most of you don't even fucking know what a typewriter looks like. Now you take your thumbs and you just pull towards you and you pull the paper down into the rollers. You're almost done now. Once you get just a little bit more than the glue strip sticking out, take your tongue, give it a nice swirl. I like to give it several rolls to make sure that everything's in place and tight. Pull the roller up and back towards you, the bottom roller. Fix anything you might have to on the end where the paper might have overlapped a little bit. And your joint has rolled. I've been rolling for a little while yet, and we're starting to get a nice little stockpile here, you know. Oh, yes we are. Of course, I'm making a mess all over me. Oh, that bowl is definitely cooked. It's time to change that to a new one. How about some citrus pie? I think I will have a little citrus pie now, gentlemen. Let me crush this bud up real quick here and we'll be back to it again, you know. So yeah, I literally have given these machines to people and they couldn't figure out how to use them. And they just said, why don't I just buy them from you? Oh! I'm like, well, you really ought to learn how to at least produce a joint if you have to, you know. And look, you don't have to learn how to do it by hand. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to roll a joint by hand. I know guys like my man here, the iron worker. He can roll them like fucking snapping fingers, but a lot of people don't roll enough joints to really get that good at it. They end up tearing a lot of papers and I don't know. They got shit. They can roll joints that run like a fucking racer, you know. And so, I mean, these machines, you get them like 2 for like $6 on Amazon, you know. Yeah, I know. Everybody laughs when I tell them I use a machine. But listen, actually, a friend of mine in Oklahoma who, you know, big time weed smoker and grower who'd been smoking a weed and growing weed for decades like me, he said, hey man, I use a fucking machine. He goes, fuck that shit, man. He goes, I ain't got time to fucking deal with that shit. So, you know, gave me permission to go ahead and do it. I thought, well, if he's fucking doing it, it must be all right. He's not a fucking freak. He's cool. So, again, you got your filter tip in the end. You got your weed you dumped in there with your expired credit card or library card or whatever you got laying around, draft card. You want to take that card and you want to pack that weed down into the machine, making sure that the tip of it isn't liking any weed, because that's what happens most of the time. You get more weed in the middle and you got to make sure you work it toward the end. Now you just pack it down in there as tight as you can get it down in there with the card. Just tap it in there. And you can do it faster than this. I'm slowing down to explain this a little bit. I can I timed myself the other day. I can when I'm going at it good, I can roll about one every 30 seconds. You know, when I'm really going at it. But I'm taking my time to show you all just how to do it. You know, because when you first start, you're not going to be that fast. You know, so I might as well show you what it's going to be like. I also like using the flavored papers. I got a bunch of those in here. That's kind of a nice treat. Okay, so now you've rolled it, you know, you've got it nice and tight in there, and then you just lay your paper in there and feed it in with your thumbs. And then the magic ingredient to make it all work is saliva. Yeah, well, you know, I've got this really nice rolling stash box here. It's got a tray on top and all kinds of neat shit to it, you know. And so I do most of my weed rolling, my joint rolling at home. I don't really do a lot of it on the road. I mean, and I also use a vape sometimes when I'm on the road because, you know, it's convenient. You can do it in public, nobody even knows it, you know. And you finish your joint. Here's your filter tip end and your weed end. I mean, one of the big secrets is make sure you clean up enough weed, you know, so you're not stopping half the time and cleaning more weed and that, you know, and, you know, make sure you got all the stems and crap out of there. In the old days, we had to make sure you got all the seeds out of there. You know, we had to sit there and roll it down trays. You know, I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but you crush all the weed up, and then you like just keep rolling it up the tray until the seeds would roll down because they were heavier. Yeah, God, it's been a long time since I had to clean seeds out of, you know, massive seeds out of weed. Okay, so I packed that bowl and I never lit the damn thing up. Okay, so we got a nice bowl here of citrus pie, and we're gonna just load that fucker up and say cheers to everybody out there. Yeah, yeah, album covers. Oh fuck yeah! And if you were really cool and you could steal a fucking drive-in restaurant tray, like A&W had those trays hooked on the windows, I got to steal one of those one time, and man, was that a fucking great cleaning tray. Oh man, had that nice lip around the edge, you know. It was perfect, yeah. A&W fucking drive. I don't know what happened to that thing. I had it for years. I still got a triple beam scale up, you know, in my house, man, from the old days. That somebody stole from the high school. Cheers, everybody. Oh. Yep. 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 Old school, man. That's the fuck yeah. You know, they might as well put that in my name. Grower, old school deacon. Because I'm as old as they get, man. But anyway, I ain't giving up yet. Okay, so I got the filter tip in there again. Yeah. I keep going on, don't I? Well, somebody's going to watch this video that wants to learn how to roll joints. I mean, we can't all be able to do it by hand, and, you know, so come on, man. You got to help out the brothers and sisters who just need an easy way to roll a joint that their friends don't laugh at. Oh my God. I can remember some of the joints I'd roll and people would go, so when's it due? So are we going to have baby joints off this thing with relight this thing? You know. And I'd be like, you know what, motherfucker? It's my fucking weed. If you want, you know, a perfect joint, why don't you cough up some fucking weed and roll one, you know. They always smoked my fucking weed, so they'd shut up eventually. But they never burned worth of shit because they were pregnant and they'd run like a motherfucker, and half the time there'd be a seed or two in there to explode, you know. the inevitable pinhole stains all up and down your favorite satin shirt, you know. Some of you will get that reference, some of you won't. Depends on how old you are. And you just roll it down in there, and look at that, you got another joint. Man, they even got automatic machines where you can load the fucking shit in there and you push a button and it pops out joints. But that's fucking lazy, man. I mean, that's just getting too fucking lazy. Because I'm sitting here, I got half a chest of these fucking joints. I mean, look at this. I've already got a pretty good stash here, you know. I like to have a bunch for a rainy day. You never know when you're gonna need a joint, you know, or somebody's gonna say, "Man, can you sell me a joint?" You know, hypothetically, or you know, you just want to be social. Okay, well, we'll do it one more time for you. Well, maybe more than one more time because I got a lot of weed here still left. Okay, so got your paper ready. Take your filter tip. I'm going to try to do this one a little bit faster, okay? Filter tip in. Weed. Of course, when you're trying to do it fast on camera, you always fuck up, right? You know, like the paper won't go in the fucking slot. Okay, here we go. That was probably, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds, something like that. Maybe a minute, I don't know. So you can get faster at it when when you do a few thousand of them. But yeah, so that's how I use the rolling machine and an old credit card and filter tips to roll what I think is a reasonably good, and they burn good. They usually burn good. They're nice and even burners, and it all comes out good, you know. Yeah, I cleaned up a bunch of weed. I had some banana fruitcake that had been rolling around in my car in a bag for a while, and it got pretty crushed up. And I had some Gorilla cookies that I had harvested. And I said, you know what? I like to blend. You know, I like to blend on my joints. You know, I don't always. Sometimes I'll just use one kind of weed, but it's kind of fun. Sometimes I've had as much as 4 or 5 different kinds of weed in the same joint, and it really does give you some interesting buzz. You know, you're getting all kinds of sativas and indicas all mixed together with all kinds of different terps. You know, I mean, they blend tobaccos, right? You know, there's a reason for that. You know, they blend coffee. There's a reason for that. You know, some of the parts can sometimes be greater than the individual parts. Oh man, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be between harvests for a while. I had a kind of a shutdown on my garden for a while because I thought I was going to go out of town, and that fizzled out. So now I'm bringing everything back up again. But yeah, that's great, man. OG, good old OG Kush. I just harvested some purple Bubba Kush, which is a purple mixed with OG Kush and something else. Bubble gum, I think. Could be wrong on that one, but yeah, it was tasty. It had real, I mean, shitloads of trichomes on the fucking, even the fucking stems were covered in fucking white hair. I mean, it was really. Bad news is, though, the plant that's growing in tent number 2 right now, it's like almost 4 feet tall. It's a fucking male, man. I know it is. I'm just not wanting to cut it down, but I know it is. First, it shot out the double horns. You know, I mean, you're like, oh no, not the double horns. And then I'm starting to see the little dill pickles starting to form. You know, the little dicks. I mean, they're just starting to form. So, you know, a lot of people would be like, oh, maybe those are just female hairs. You know, but unfortunately, I know enough by now to know that this was a volunteer plant that grew in my tent from a seed that dropped from something or whatever. What happened? Oh shit! I gotta run. Yeah, I got a problem here. I gotta run.